whether the legislative party in the House acts independently of the political party. That's the central issue. Because I will, Malads, while I go through the facts before your lordships, indicate to your lordships that on the 21st of June, when the first meeting took place, and we called, the group led by Uddhav Thackeray called members of the legislative party who belonged to now the Eknath Shinde group to come and attend the meeting, which was not done, pursuant to which some actions were taken. The contention throughout has been that there is a split in the party. So the issue before your lordships is, can members of the legislature within the House or comprising of those members of the House by themselves say that there is a split in the party because they don't agree with the leadership? This in turn would require your lordships to look at the 10th schedule and in that context interpret the role of the party within the legislature. Because after all, members of the legislature of any particular party get elected on a symbol of the party. They are there because of the party. And if they are there because of the party, Malads, there is an umbilical cord link between them while they are sitting in the House and the party outside. Can that link be severed and say, we are an independent set of people, we can do what we like? That will require, Malads, the interpretation of the 10th schedule. It requires your lordships to analyze the role of the whip, how a whip gets appointed, how he happens to be a bridge between the legislative party and the political party. And that nothing happens in the House without the political party taking a decision. Nothing happens. Well, the bill is introduced by the Treasury benches, any bill.
So is it your contention, therefore, Mr. Sibal, therefore, that unless there is a split outside the House,
yes,
within the political party,
yes,
that split cannot find recognition within the legislative party within the House? That's your...
Absolutely. That's my contention. That's the law also, and I'll demonstrate that to your lordship. That is the law. Well, what happens, Mullahs, as I'm giving your lordships an example, Mullahs. A bill is introduced by the Treasury benches, a controversial bill, let's assume. Bill there in which there is no consensus. Mullahs, what happens? The parliamentary party, a group of members of the legislature are invited by the parliamentary party to sit outside the House in a particular room and say, this is the bill that's being introduced. What should be our position? The party decides the position. And it's articulated in the House. The legislative party by itself, dehors the party, doesn't decide what we are going to do, what you are not going to do. When a whip is going to be issued, Malad, it's issued outside the House, translated inside the House. Okay, on this, you're going to vote against the bill that has been introduced, or that you will vote in favor, or that you will abstain.
But when the 10th schedule speaks about, say, a merger, for instance, now, yes, there are very few exceptions in the 10th schedule, and it speaks of a merger.
Yes.
Ultimately, the speaker has to decide whether there is a merger. The speaker will not go into whether there was a merger outside the House. Because then the speaker will be taking over the function of the Election Commission of India.
That argument is entirely on a different plane, Malad. So we're not dealing with it, and we'll interpret the paragraph 4 for your lordships also.
The speaker's remit cannot lie outside the house.
Mullah, there's a problem. Supposing, all right, then let's analyze that for a minute, Mullah, since your lordships have raised the issue. Mullah, supposing there are 10 members of the legislative party in the house, right? And the merger has to take place of the political party. They belong, say, to the Mullahs, to the Samajwadi party, right, Mullah? Now, even paragraph 4 says that there's a merger of the political party, not the merger of the legislative party.
Right.
Right? So therefore, Samajwadi party has to merge.
But no, if we accept your argument, that would mean that unless the Election Commission of India decides on a merger outside the House, the Speaker cannot take a decision within the House, within
No, Election Commission did not
whether there is a merger or not. That can't be.
No, Election Commission did not decide this issue, Mullah.
How else?
Because a resolution will be passed that we have merged. And that will be informed. The Election Commission, they don't have to take a decision. They'll be informed. Majority of the members of the party will decide. They'll be informed. Once merger takes place, these eight people may say, we don't want to merge. And paragraph 4 says they need not merge. But I'll come to that later. This is a very complex issue.
Actually,
not so.
Let's have a broad now framework of the facts, because
I will, Malaj.
In fact, that was our basic problem there. Unless we have a clear perception on the facts, it's very difficult for us then to look at the law divorced from the facts.
I entirely agree, but just Malaj, may I just your lordship, what are the issues that are going to be? I just told your lordships too.
we have to necessarily reframe the issues, because the kind of the issues which are there, which are reframed.
Yeah, it's not reflective of Malaj what needs to be decided. I agree entirely. Malaj, the other issue is, and that's never come up before the court. And that issue is, can a governor swear in a member of a legislative party against whom a disqualification matter is pending before the House? That's the other issue. Never come up before. What then are the powers of the governor in matters in relation to disqualification? This is not a case of a pre-poll alliance. This is not a case of a post-poll alliance. This is not a case of one political party. It is a case of people who allege that they are the party because they are a majority in the legislature. Right, Mullahs? What then are the powers, or what should be the function of the governor in matters of this nature, and how he should conduct himself? Because he also knows, because the disqualification petition is pending, Mullahs. He also knows. And if the governor does, Mullahs, swear him in as a chief minister, Mullahs, he actually topples a democratically elected government and aids in doing that because they happen to be majority in the legislature. Mullahs, that's one of the issues that your lordships may have to consider. Then the other issue to be considered is, can a court, constitutional court, without referring the matter to the speaker in the facts and circumstances of this case, decide the matter on its own, given the fact that there are no disputed facts? We are not going to, Mullahs, place before your lordships any disputed fact.